Hey Brittany, let's take a look at your week 1 assignment 3 project here. Thanks for letting the entirety of kind of the drawing show through. One thing you can do for me also, this is probably going to start bordering on being very nitpicky, but one thing you can do is you've got a good solid 800 by 600 page here. Utilize the entirety of it. So these guys that are in the that you've plugged in here, you can make them as big as you can get them onto the page so that they take up the fullest extent without obscuring each other, just because again, the bigger they are, the better it is for me in terms of being able to see how things are going and what you're doing with the materials, obviously up to a limit. We don't want it to be so big that the file size becomes restrictive, but within that kind of parameter of the 800, 600, 72 dpi, use all that real estate that you've got there, and I think that it will make your drawings look a lot better, and it'll let me see what's going on in the drawings a lot better. The drawings themselves, sorry, just managing all this stuff. Drawings themselves look good. I think you've got some really good fills going on in the side to side. Your paper does feel like it's bleeding a little bit because the blinds are blending together, but they end up showing, I think, a good consistency as well. I like the bottom ones a little bit better because I can actually see the strokes being made clearer than I can on the top one, just because of the gray, the nature of the grays and of the black. And I think overall they feel good. I think with the blind technique, you need to keep an eye on a few things, like making sure you're minimizing as best you can the gaps in between the strokes, which is always a given, and dealing with some of these really kind of tight corners and tight spaces where I think you have to go in and cut. You can cut your edges all the way around the outline of this shape. You can go here, then you can go here and up and around and then across, as well as doing kind of the cut just on the outer edges. And this is the case for for all of this stuff, and I think it'll help to kind of eliminate some of these minor kind of cracks that you have here and there along the corners and along the little kind of tiny nooks and crannies. But that's one thing. The other thing, and this is not a marker related thing, is that I think your shapes themselves could just be dealt with a little bit better in terms of their underdrawing, using a straight edge, making sure that you've got nice kind of clean, crisp, symmetrical shapes. You've got a shape here which is kind of moving up and then back down. The square that's behind everything has a little bit of a kind of curve into it. So they feel very freehand, but they also feel very loose and not quite as solid as they could. And so things are occurring where you have angles that are not 90 degrees, or you have corners that aren't quite sharp. And I think a lot of it is because some of these just don't feel like they have an underdrawing under them to work as a template. So that's always something that, with any drawing that we do with the marker, we always want to have a good solid foundation underneath it of a drawing. So use your straight edge. If you have a compass or a circle guide, always be sure to use that, and you'll just get, I think, better presentation out of it when you have these kind of good blueprint underneath to work with everything. Everything else feels good technique wise. It feels like you're following through with it just as you were with the last assignment. You got to watch the bleeding, and you might need to make a paper change because there's some areas like there are here where the colors are very easily kind of bleeding into each other, and we're losing kind of the crispness of the edge. And a lot of that's just going to happen if you saturate a piece of paper on one place and then go in with a different color and saturate a lot. There's going to be a lot of intermixing. So if you find that it happens a lot, it might have to be a paper change that you'll have to do. But I think otherwise, there's good shape usage, good overlapping, and good marker usage.